Following my September 12th report, which provided background about the mounting pressure that Charlie Kirk was under from pro-Israel forces, from Netanyahu's cutouts in the United States.
He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel.
Who is they, BB? Who is they who got Charlie Kirk?
I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year. So will we all, I am sure.
And they went after him and tormented him. Not all, of course, many were supportive, but the ones who were offended by my speech, and there was a small, very intense group who were, tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died.
I want to verify that he was feeling frustrated, and he was feeling pressured, and he was feeling like his character was being assassinated.
All right, guys, this episode is going to be very controversial. I've been following a lot of the details surrounding Charlie Kirk and his assassination, and I told you guys I will bring the facts to the table. There's a lot to unpack here, so just follow along with me. What I want to do here is walk you through the lead up before his death, what was happening around it, and the aftermath. Now, to be clear, I am not accusing anyone of anything. That is not what this is. What I am doing is laying out the facts, the sequence of events, and the commentary that has been circulating. Because whether you supported Charlie or not, what surrounded his final days says a lot about the political climate we're currently in, the pressure, the tension, and the narratives being built in real time. This episode is going to walk you through the full timeline. We'll start with the months before his death, his public appearances, his comments about Israel, and the backlash that followed. And then we'll move into critical days leading up to when he was actually assassinated. And we're not stopping there. I'll also show you the reactions that poured out afterwards, the tweets, the interviews with Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, plus the spin that has been pushed since. We're going to piece it all together with receipts and not speculation. Because this just wasn't about Charlie Kirk. It was about the pressure that builds up when politics, loyalty, and controversy collides. And pretending that this is just another random headline, it's just not going to cut it, guys. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Carmen JC. If you're new here, hit the like or the subscribe button. Or if you want to support the channel, hit the super thanks or the buy me a coffee link below. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, let's back this up to July 2025, the Student Action Summit, SAS. Charlie hosted it, and I was there, not streaming from home, not reading commentary. I was in the building. I was there on behalf of Blexit, working alongside Turning Point USA. And I'll be honest, I loved the event. The energy was insane. The scale was massive. I saw Tucker Carlson speak live on stage, and that's when you really noticed the divide. Most of the room was locked in, cheering, loved it. But there was definitely people who weren't so happy. Now, here's the other piece. While I was at the event, a clip started circulating online. It showed what happened at an Israel booth, and this is where things had turned messy. A guy walked up and started pressing them, asking them questions. Standing with him was Patriotic Batty, and I don't know if she was directly with him or if she was just there watching. And the next thing you see is the clip where security moves in, they arrest him, and then they kick her out too. She hadn't said a word, wasn't causing a scene, just standing there, but she still was escorted out. That pressure wasn't hiding in the shadows anymore. It was on full display. And I want you guys to go ahead and take a look at this clip of this actual encounter. Go ahead and take a listen.
Asking questions, folks. Just asking questions. I asked Tucker Carlson a question last night. People seem to like it. I got job opportunities after it. Yep, off we go. Have a good one.
I'm asking you for your badge, and then we're going to go ahead and remove you from the premise.
Because why?
I'm telling you because you were involved in the incident.
I was not involved. I just met him.
Remove you from the venue. This is private.
So because are you going to arrest everybody that witnessed it?
So obviously there was tension in the air about Israel. And to be clear, I'm not saying this was Israel's fault. I'm saying the topic itself had people kind of on edge. That weekend, July 11th through the 13th, you could feel it in every corner of SAS. Now, I'm not saying that it was just super tense, but it was a little tension there. And then shortly after that, things really blew up. Tucker Carlson went on stage and actually called out Bill Ackman by name. And that caused a firestorm. Charlie Kirk ended up catching a lot of heat for it too, specifically the topic that were tied to Bill Ackman in Israel. Let's go ahead and take a look at that clip.
They're getting rewarded for it. The unfairness of it drives you crazy. And it's particularly galling in the case of Jeffrey Epstein and the whole constellation of people around Jeffrey Epstein, all of whom seem to be getting away with scams. And how do you know they're getting away with scams? I'll tell you how, because they're useless and they're rich. So how do you come to a place where some of the least impressive, most useless people who have no actual skills become billionaires? How's that legitimate? And by the way, if you ask this question, at least in Washington, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it sounds like you're a socialist. Sounds like socialism. Yeah, okay, I'm a socialist now. All right. I was a Qatari agent or a bigot. Now I'm a socialist. All right. Leaving aside my committed socialism, can you answer the question? How did Bill Ackman get $9 billion? Bill Ackman, a pretty impressive guy? I know Bill Ackman. No. Bill Ackman's like well-connected and super aggressive. That's it. And I think, well-connected, super aggressive people deserve a fair living like everybody else. But if you're accruing $9 million just because you're willing to do anything, I don't know why we have to pretend that's good.
All right, so you can see where a lot of this tension is coming from. It was a reaction to a difference of opinion, plain and simple. That's where the fire was being stoked. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to the next event. Okay, so now we have to talk about the Hamptons because clearly something went down there, and this is the direct aftermath of the SAS event. So here's the setup. Over 35 influencers flown out, event organized by Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, and all the costs were covered by Bill Ackman. Sounds like a cushy getaway, right? Except apparently this Hamptons retreat had become ground zero for the rumors that Charlie Kirk was pressured, threatened, or even blackmailed. Not just over Israel, but even over changes in thought regarding some of the people he had hosted at SAS, particularly Tucker Carlson. Now, Max Blumenthal was the first one to really lay this out in detail. In his Gray Zone piece, he described the Hamptons retreat as the moment Charlie was confronted about Israel. According to him, this was not a casual weekend in the Hamptons. This was a pressure campaign. He paints the picture of an orchestrated intervention where Israel and its policies were the red line Charlie wasn't allowed to cross. The article set the stage for the firestorm of speculations that followed. Now let's go ahead and take a listen to Max Blumenthal in his own words. Take a listen.
Following my September 12th report, which provided background about the pressure, the mounting pressure that Charlie Kirk was under from pro-Israel forces, from Netanyahu's cutouts in the United States, I gathered more details. The piece, it hit like a sledgehammer. It really caused a lot of, I think it spoke for a lot of people, particularly within the conservative movement, which is changing among the youth on the question of Israel. And more people started coming out, and more people started talking, and people were talking to me. And these were people who had knowledge of a tumultuous, stormy meeting held in the Hamptons during the first week of August, convened, according to multiple sources, with knowledge of this meeting, intimate knowledge of this meeting, by the billionaire ultra-Zionist financier Bill Ackman, who was close to Netanyahu and his kind of network in the United States. Charlie Kirk was summoned along with an array of young, sort of vapid, very avaricious conservative influencers who seemed to be sort of in Israel's back pocket to set a very pro-Israel tone for this meeting. And Charlie Kirk was, according to one source, hammered by Ackman and others for allowing Israel critics, very prominent conservative voices like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith to appear at his events. And actually, Charlie Kirk was planning to host many of these same figures again in December, and he had just added to his TPUSA major, I think it's called America Fest in December, the premier critic of Israel in Congress. I didn't say Republican critic, I just said premier critic, because that's what she is now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which really reflected his shifting views. And Ackman, according to multiple sources, had this meeting to basically bully Charlie Kirk into submission. Charlie Kirk walked away, according to one person, feeling like there was an attempt to blackmail him. He refused any offers of funding and also refused the offer to travel to Israel.
Now, Candace Owens then just casually jumped in. She was fired up And if you look at the timing, part of what set her off was Bill Ackman posting this tweet calling Charlie a giant man, talking about how privileged he felt to spend the day with him. That might sound like a nice tribute, but to Candace, it was tone deaf and almost like he was trying to rewrite what had actually happened. So she backed the narrative that what went down in the Hamptons was not cordial at all. In her own words, Charlie wasn't just having friendly discussions. He was concerned, he was pressured, and even threatened. She described it as an intervention designed to silence him, especially when it came to Israel. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to Candace Owens in her own words. Go ahead and take a listen.
So Bibi Netanyahu in that phone call, what took place was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset and threats were made. That is what I am told. And I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I got to tell you that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, you know, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp, you know.
Now, even Nick Fuentes backed up this claim, saying that his own sources confirmed the meeting happened and that Charlie was offered money in that meeting, which he declined. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that as well.
Say that Charlie Kirk was offered an infusion of $150 million by Israel. Okay? That would double Israel's budget, or excuse me, Turning Point USA's budget. Turning Point USA has an annual budget of $140 million. Netanyahu offered Turning Point $150 million. For one purpose and one purpose only, to shill for Israel harder. Turning Point USA is already pro-Israel. They're not anti-Israel. They've never been anti-Israel. Charlie Kirk has, in the past, criticized Bibi Netanyahu. He has criticized secular left-wing Jewry in America. He has criticized a war with Iran, the famine in Gaza. He has never opposed Israel in itself. He has never explicitly opposed Israel. Israel offered him $150 million to be more pro-Israel than they already were, to be harder in their support for Israel, and in particular, to support regime change in Iran and to support their ethnic cleansing and genocide in Gaza. And Charlie Kirk refused the money. And I have independently confirmed that, by the way. I've heard that from 4 people. 4 people that I trust that are in the know. So this is coming from Candace Owens, a friend of Charlie Kirk. This is coming from Max Blumenthal, who purports to have a source. And I have heard from a handful of people independently of those sources that this offer was real and that Kirk turned down the money. After Charlie Kirk turned down the money, Netanyahu asked if he would come visit Jerusalem and give him the re-education tour. The Holocaust Museum, the burned babies, the beheaded babies, the one that Elon Musk took, the one that our Speaker of the House took. Anyone that's ever criticized Israel has been subjected to. He refused that as well.
Now, Bill Ackman wasn't having any of this. I'm not going to read his whole statement because it's like 2 or 3 pages long, but I'll tell you exactly what he said. Essentially what he said. He essentially flat out denied the whole intervention narrative. According to him, the retreat was cordial, friendly, respectful. And to prove his point, he even dropped WhatsApp screenshots showing that Charlie Kirk was thanking him for the weekend and even asking him to go to dinner with their wives. Afterwards, Ackman's message was basically like, okay, well, if Charlie felt so pressured, why would he be thanking me and making dinner plans? Screenshots are there. Take a look at them for yourself. But it wasn't just that. Then you got people like Xavier DeRusso, who was actually there, okay? He declined to comment when Blumenthal reached out, but later he wrote out on his account on X. According to him, Charlie ran the event, not Ackman, and it was designed to spark debate across topics like Islam, marriage, the economy, and Israel. Charlie threw out provocative hypotheticals, even tossing out, what if I posted that Netanyahu needs to resign? But framed it as a debate training, not blackmail. Xavier said there was no intervention, no Charlie versus Ackman blow up, just tough conversations and Charlie doing exactly what he always doing, sharpening arguments. The problem here is if this was in fact just a debate training, then why are there different accounts from people like Blumenthal, Candace, Matt Gaetz, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, who say Charlie was under a lot of pressure? And on October 13th, Harrison E. Smith of InfoWars tweeted, Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. Less than 2 weeks later, on August 22nd, Xavier, the same guy from the Hamptons, was in Israel and he filmed this. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
If I were Israel, I wouldn't even provide matching socks to Gaza. But here's all the aid that y'all claim doesn't exist. Now walk with me. I'm here in Gaza, and all I see is food, water, and opportunity. But instead of Hamas distributing the ramen noodles, they're eating it all, and that's why their leaders are on Ozempic. The United Nations brings the food here to look like they're actually doing something productive, but they never finish the job, just like your ex. Now this food is sitting here collecting flies, but y'all want to blame Israel. Then you have Egypt, who built the wall of Donald Trump's dreams, keeping the Palestinians here, but y'all don't say anything to them. Why don't you call on any of the nations of Islam to distribute the food to Palestinians? Mind you, there is petroleum right there. Energy, Gaza got the energy, Gaza got the terrorists wasting all their energy.
So we're left with 3 narratives. Max Blumenthal and Candace Owens' intervention, threats, and blackmail. Bill Ackman's cordial conversation and screenshots to support it. And the influencers saying that it was just debate training, nothing more. And in the middle of all 3 of those narratives is Charlie himself, caught between conflicting accounts. Now, clearly something happened in the Hamptons. The only question is, was it a debate practice or was it pressure with consequences? Because one way or another, whatever happened in the Hamptons did not stay in the Hamptons. So the very next day after the Hamptons meeting, Charlie Kirk sat down with Megyn Kelly. And this is where things started getting interesting because Charlie Kirk makes it clear he doesn't like the second he critiques Israel, the labels start flying. Suddenly he's anti-Semitic. Suddenly he's being smeared, and all for simply having an opinion. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
And that paradigm, but Megyn, I think you would agree with this. I want to make sure we really zero in on this. Personality types like you, myself, and Tucker, the more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megyn, it would be one thing if it was right. 1 text or 2 text. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? And so, look, I'm afraid because, again, I want civilization to win. I want the West to win. I don't want the Islamo-fascist barbarians to storm the gates of Jerusalem. I want the holy sites protected. I believe in the Holy Land. I love that Jesus walked on water there and rose from the dead and preached in the Mount of Beatitudes. Like, I feel the connection to Israel. But at the same time, simultaneously, when the hostile reaction is that now Meghan and Charlie are enemies,
right?
Boy, I'll tell you, like, you're not gonna, I wouldn't say lose, but you will weaken and just basically deflate two of your strongest advocates if that continues.
Meghan doesn't just sit there. She is straight up confirming what he's saying, that there is some serious pressure coming down on him from certain people. Let's go ahead and listen to that moment too.
I want to verify that he was feeling frustrated and he was feeling pressured and he was feeling like his character was being assassinated by people publicly and privately who are, I guess, consider themselves more pro-Israel than Charlie. And he refused to back off of his criticisms and said the truth, which is, in his case and in mine, the more you tell us we can't talk about something the way we want to talk about it, the more we're likely to do it. And to me, this whole thing is very frustrating because he was pretty clear, both with me and, by the way, in a focus group he did with a bunch of young people on Israel and young conservatives, I think, who were feeling the same frustrations. And it's a long-winded way of saying, can I tell you what? Like, I understand Candace's point. It's not okay for him to come out, just read part of the letter and let that be that. There was an evolving feeling by Charlie on Israel that is a lot more complicated than Charlie graciously wrote in that letter. And look, I guess everybody wants to spin it in a way that makes them sound closer to Charlie and make Charlie sound closer to their cause, because Charlie's so influential right now and so important to us. But I also object to the extent he was used to advance a political narrative in that Fox News interview. I see why she's upset.
And it wasn't just Meghan. Tucker Carlson also stepped up and confirmed that Charlie Kirk was under immense pressure. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that clip.
He did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it. Didn't hate Netanyahu. He wasn't out there with a placard saying that, but he certainly expressed that to me and a lot of other people. And there's no question that Bibi's defenders on the internet will call me a liar or a kook, but that's a fact. And enough text messages exist that I think it can probably be verified in pretty short order. Not that it needs to be, because that is true. Shortly after that speech, there was a very intense attack on Charlie, and to some extent on me, not that I really noticed. But on him, I have no donors. He had $100 million worth of donors. And so, because he was involved in a different project from just yapping on the internet, which is what I do for a living, he was dependent to a great extent on his donors, of course. It's a nonprofit. And they went after him and tormented him. Not all, of course. Many were supportive, but the ones who were offended by my speech, and there was a small, very intense group who were, tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died.
Now, after that happened, Matt Gaetz jumped in with a tweet and said, I 100% agree with what Tucker Carlson recounted. Boom, right there on the screen. Okay? So clearly something was happening here in the lead up to Charlie Kirk's death. Now, to be clear, does that mean Israel did something to Charlie Kirk? Does that mean Bill Ackman did something to Charlie Kirk? Absolutely not. But it does mean that we've got to look into all the events, the timelines, the statements, so nobody gets confused or fall into lazy narratives. Either the Israel did it camp or the Charlie Kirk was a super Zionist who loved everything Israel said camp. The truth is, the whole situation deserves a little bit more nuance. And speaking of nuance, what I really think set Candace Owens off was when Bibi Netanyahu went on Fox News waving around a letter like it was some type of smoking gun. Basically, he was holding it up saying that Charlie basically just love Israel. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization. A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him.
All right, now I want you guys to go ahead and take a listen to Candace, because she's going to say that what Bibi Netanyahu is saying is being misrepresented. He's misrepresenting Charlie Kirk's words, rather. Go ahead and take a listen.
Who is they, Bibi? Who is they who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about Bibi trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people, that, Charlie kind of made it almost sound like he died for Israel. I mean, Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, like this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but no, he's letting you know that he just randomly picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk and invites him to Israel. Why would Bibi do that? It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened.
So now we got Ben Shapiro. He was the last person to actually do a podcast with Charlie Kirk before he was killed. And I want to show you that exchange from that podcast. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border. So maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be? And how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
All right. So after that podcast, obviously, like the next day, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then the very next day, Ben Shapiro wasted no time saying that he would pick up where Charlie Kirk left off. Essentially, he said he'd go to college campuses and teach young people about Judeo-Christian values, which is interesting considering that Ben Shapiro himself does not even believe in Jesus. And I want you guys to go ahead and take a listen to him saying that himself.
Now, it's still up to us. I saw a lot of rumors online today. I was made aware of this by my team, that I canceled some sort of college tour. That's bullshit. I saw those rumors. They are false. I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year. So will we all, I am sure, because we're Americans and we're not going to be deterred. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it. And to those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion, who believe that they have ownership over public spaces and can violently threaten and kill people who speak freely, we are not going to stop. And I have 2 words. Fuck you. We will not stop telling the truth. We will never stop telling the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and for what she should be. And we will never let Charlie Kirk's voice die. Goodbye to my friend, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing for your family and for your country and for all of us.
And if you think I'm saying that he doesn't believe in Jesus because I'm trying to shame him, no, these are his own words. So I'm going to let you guys hear a clip of that as well.
You know, from a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ, I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and right?
No, we don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became legend in story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew, and then
do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not a Jewish belief.
Okay, I just want to check.
Yeah, no, we're not into
You're not
we're not into miracle
zombies?
stories. No, that's
No?
no.
You don't have any miracles?
No,
in here?
not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones
But
in the Old
God
Testament.
ones?
Like I can't join a church. I assume I don't believe the things that people in the church believe.
You probably could if you donate. You got to give the right amount of money.
Well, I don't believe in the Jesus, so there's that
Jesus?
part. Yeah, that's not my thing, right? I mean, so
what do we make of all this? Does this mean that there is someone besides Tyler Robinson who killed Charlie Kirk? I don't think so. I don't think the evidence shows that. What I do think is that it is important for those who want to continue Charlie's legacy to know where his mind was in the final days, because you can't separate the man from the pressure he was under or the conversations happening around him. Now, none of this is confirmed fact. None of it is documented with text messages or published receipts. It's all people's words and what they've said and what they've claimed and what they've tweeted. So that's kind of all we can go off right now. But keeping that context matters. It matters if you actually want to honor Charlie Kirk's memory and what he wanted for this country, not by twisting the story, not by idolizing him into something he wasn't, but by facing the pressure he endured and the battles he chose to fight. So that's where we are. A man who built a movement, who carried a platform bigger than most politicians, and who in his final days was under pressures that most of us will never fully understand. And here's the thing. A lot of people are hurting. Emotions are high all over the place. Some people are pointing fingers. Some people are rewriting the story. Some people are just grieving. And to be honest, I think it's best we just give everybody a little bit of slack right now. But what I wanted to do today was give you the actual timeline, not the memes, not the headlines, but the story as it is actually unfolding and all the contradictions and claims laid out. Because honoring Charlie Kirk's legacy means telling the truth, even when it's messy, even when it doesn't fit into one little neat box. Now, you'll notice I didn't go into Tyler Robertson here, and that is intentional. There's a lot not being told about to us about that as well, but I'm going to cover it fully in a different episode. For now, just sit with this. The pressure was real. The narratives were clashing, and Charlie Kirk's final days deserve more honesty than we're being given. That's what I have for you guys today. I want to know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts below. I am Carmen JC. Thank you guys for watching the channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like or the subscribe button. Or if you want to support the channel, hit the super thanks or in the Buy Me Coffee link below. I love you guys so much.
Conscious culture, we awaken and we learn. Fire in our spirits, watch the system as it burns. Question every lesson, let the real truth return. We break the mold, and now it's our turn.